ムにレベル3ダークイゾレーターをチューニング。王者の鼓動、今ここに列をなす天地明道の力を見るがいい。シンクロ召喚、我が魂レッドデーモンズドラゴン。
ついに来たー、剣技最強のエースレッドデーモンズドラゴン。
Welcome everybody to Stackz Gaming. This is Larry. We're doing a deck profile here of the Red Resonators. We are basically giving a breakdown of a 2024 list, and what we're trying to do is add in a little bit more support from the structure I felt like it was lacking. It's going to be the Bestial stuff. We'll get through this deck profile as fast as possible. So right now we got 3 Soul Resonators. Basically it comes out of the structure. On summon you can look for Fiend Monster level 4 or lower to your from your deck to your hand. So it allows you to bring stuff for an extension. While it's in the graveyard you can banish it if cards were going to get destroyed. So it acts as an Omni Negate to Regeki or effects that destroy stuff, so he's good to have in the graveyard. Then we do 2 Vision Resonators. You can special summon him if you control level 5 or higher synchro. And his second effect is if he's sent to the graveyard, you can add a filler spell, a spell or trap card that mentions RDA. So it basically allows you to act as an extender, so you can Foolish Burial him, or you can send him with Bone Archfiend to get him in there to get the effect if you don't have him in hand. Then we do Crimson Resonator for the simple fact that you can special summon him if you control no monsters. So if you need to get into an extension, that's his first half of the clause. His other half of the clause is if you control exactly 1 Synchro Dragon Tuner monster, you can special summon 2 more tuners from the deck. So it allows you to get into a bigger extension. Then we do 2 Synchron Resonator. He's good, and he's not a once per turn. This is probably the only card that's a once per turn. All the other cards are. Anytime he's used as a synchro material, you can return one of these from your graveyard back to your hand, and then you can special summon him if you control a synchro monster. So very good, very useful. Some people put it at 1, but I think it's necessary at 2. Another card that I think is really good that comes out of the structure, Bone Archfiend. You can special summon him from your hand or graveyard by sending a face-up card or a card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon him. His second effect's what really makes this deck really good. You can send a card from your hand or from your deck to the graveyard to increase or decrease a monster on the field. So it can be another synchro monster, it could be a tuner monster. I normally don't target him just in case they want to snatch him. That is a thing, they will take your monster. Then Oovaloop, it's kind of like self-explanatory in this deck. It is random to have the 1 of, and it is easy to send to the graveyard with Bone Archfiend. So what you want to do with Oovaloop, if you already have a synchro in graveyard, you can banish the synchro to special summon him, and he's a 4, and then you have other 4s with this to make an 8, so it allows you to continue going into extender plays if they happen to hit one of your other tuners or negate the effects or something. So 1 of. We do a 1 of Wild Wind. Basically if you control a tuner of 15,000 or less power, you can special summon him. So goes great with Oovaloop and the rest of your tuners in the deck. Then we get into a small Bestial package. Basically your Bestial package is going to be Lubellion, the 1 Druid Swarm, or no,
Druid Swarm.
Yeah, Druid Swarm, the 1 Magnamut, and then the 1 Sarvin. You really just want this in your hand because this will bring extras, bring these to your hand. So you can just send this to the graveyard, add 1 of these. Depending on what your hand's looking like, you normally add the Sarvin so you can get your spells and traps out of the graveyard. or if you want to set up like to pop something, you do Magnemite, or if you want, it really depends on the situation. But Lubellion is basically an extra copy of all of these. Then after you get your extensions out, you can use his effect from the graveyard, send him to the graveyard, and then special summon him back. It is necessary because you do need an extra monster to bring out another synchro, because we can tribute our stuff off to go into other extenders. That's basically the main core of the deck, and it's not very much, but it is leaves a lot of room in this deck. So because you have a lot of room, it's necessary doing the 3 ashes. Then we're gonna do 3 ghost spell. Everybody's basically having something activate in the grave, whether it's returning to special or add back to hand. This just says no. And then not a once per turn imperm. So if you're forced to go second and you got 2 of these, you can just activate them back to back. Really good card, slows your opponent down. It sucks if I get hit with it going turn 1, but you know, there's nothing I can do about it. Those are like, I think, the staples for the meta right now. Then we have our pots. We do run almost 2 copies of everything in our extra deck, so banishing 1 of each is not that big of a deal. Plus we can bring stuff back so we don't really lose it. I was playing 3, but you're only going to activate it 1 time, and it's really just to bait out the ash. You don't care about anything else. If you get drolled, then you can play around it, but you just don't end as big of a board, unfortunately. Then our Resonator Call, which is not a once per turn, so that's basically the bread and butter of this deck. Love the fact that it's not a once per turn. Then Gaia basically came out of the new structure. During my main, when I activate this, I can add an RDA card, or a card that mentions RDA from the deck or from my graveyard. So if I've already like set up already, I can return something from my graveyard to my hand, or add something from my deck to my hand. Its second effect, it was really what allows you to float. I was playing 2, but I think 3 is just better. If a card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you're able to special summon a Red Dragon Archfiend from your graveyard back to the field. So it just allows you to continue into floating. It's probably the best call by the grave with the condition. So like if you're trying to go push for game, because it doesn't care if it's your stuff or your opponent's stuff, it just cares if something's destroyed by battle or by card effect. So if you're pushing for game and you destroy something and you bring something back, it allows you to have enough power to go for game. And then our Branded Regain. Basically, if a light or dark monster is banished, except during the damage step, you can target 1 of those pieces, and basically you can, I'm trying to read it upside down. You can target 1 of those monsters, place that monster at the bottom of your deck, and if you do, draw a card. You can only use the effect once per turn, period. Once per turn, if your opponent normals or special summons a monster, except during damage step, you can target 1 bestial monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So just another way to special summon your bestials to get bigger bodies on board to help you protect you. Because I believe Lubellion's defense is 3,000, so it's just harder for them to swing over. Then we have Branded Beast. Branded Beast brings back Branded Regain. Once per turn during your main phase, if you control a bestial monster, you contribute 1 dragon monster, then target 1 of your opponent's monsters and destroy it. During the end phase, you can target 1 branded continuous spell or trap in your graveyard, place it face up on the field, and basically it allows you to reuse this, and that's probably the best part about this. That's why I like this. And then our 1 red zone, because it can be found in the deck because it mentions Dragon Archfiend. Basically, when your opponent activates a card or an effect, and you control a Red Dragon Archfiend or a Synchro monster, you can target 1 card in the field, destroy it, period. And if you do, you can special summon a Synchro monster that's banished. So you basically can, if you have some cards banished off of Oovaloop, or you have your opponent's banishing your stuff, you can basically just special summon it for free. And then our 1 Upstarter, Foolish Burial, and then the 1 Call by the Grave. Let's get into the extra deck.
How many in the main?
For what?
How many cards in your main?
Unfortunately, the main is 41, and it's 41 because of Call by the Grave. I kind of do want to go off turn 1, and I would like to have it at 40, but I think Call by the Grave is just a necessary call to what the meta is like trying to do, because it's so hand trap heavy right now, and I don't want to get interrupted. I just want to go off. We do 2 Red Rising Dragons, comes out of the structure, also not a once per turn, so you can special summon him twice if you can make him twice in a turn. And what he does on summon, special summon a tuner monster from your graveyard to the field, and if not the turn he's sent to the graveyard, but your follow-up turn, you can banish him to special summon 2 level 1 tuners. That's the reason why we play the 2 level 1 tuners in the deck, because he can just bring them back, and this is not a hard once per turn from the graveyard. So this will allow you, if they stop one of them, you can just do it again and then continue off. And then after you use him to step into the MVP of the deck, Scarring Red Dragon. As you can see, he's on the playmat. Going first, you won't get his first effect or his second effect, but his secondary effect is good. So when he's used as synchro material, going first, you can bring out an RDA from your deck for free. So when you synchro summon, you can just bring him out for free. If you're going second and your opponent builds a massive board, when he's special summoned on your second turn, you can basically blow up all attack position monsters and not have to worry about his board. And then this still comes out for free, which is, I think, like the MVP, because you use him to step into Red Hot. Red Hot allows you to negate something on the board once per turn that's a face-up card, while it's spell, a trap, or monster. Unfortunately, it's once per turn, so having 2 on board is not really necessary, but the 1 is, and he can float because he's Red Dragon Archfiend. The 1 of the deck I really don't make too often, but it is good just because it's a level 7, and just in case my opponent slows me down. If this card is synchro summon, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. That's on summon. And then if this card is on the field and destroyed, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, destroy that monster. And then that monster cannot declare an attack. So it allows you to do like multiple things to stall out. Then our Scarlight, Red Dragon Archfiend, basically he will destroy the stuff of his power, attack or lower. You only bring them out after you have your bigger monsters on board, like your Bestials, your Red Hot, because they are 200 power more or 500 power more. If you have a bunch of 3000s, he'll even blow up your own board, so it's not that great. That's why you play it as a 1 of. But you want your opponent to stop this so you can step into your next play anyways. You're just trying to make them use their resources because you have a lot of outs. Then I was able to get my hands on 2 Bestials. This is like the bread and butter of the deck. You can basically target a banished card, special summon it to your side of the field if it's your card, or if you target a banished card that's your opponent's card, you can negate an effect. So if you're going up against another deck that can banish stuff or wants to get rid of your stuff, you can basically negate an activation by using his effect, which is really good. Then our Bane. Bane is really good, so we use him as an extender to special summon stuff from the graveyard. That's why having the extra Bestial on the field is good, because you can tribute off another monster to special summon another synchro monster from your graveyard back to the field. Then we're doing Red Hot Calamity. So basically, Calamity, when he's summoned, your opponent can't activate cards effects. So if you do it on your turn, you're going second, and your opponent has a sick ass board, any interaction he was gonna do, he no longer has, and it allows you to go for not an FTK, but a soft OTK to at least clear his board, because you're gonna float into a bunch of other stuff. So that's what he's really good for, and if he's destroyed, it allows you to float into another monster. So he's good because this card just allows you to play the game without getting interrupted too much. And then my favorite card of the deck, so this requires 2 tuners, and this requires 3 tuners. The only reason why we don't make them too often. So this is my favorite card because it's not a once per turn. And if you know your opponent's gonna go wide after the first match, you just make this and you have you bring red zone to the field. You can banish this, and during the end of your next phase, he gets special summoned, but it sends all cards that get banished. Red zone will allow you to special summon him back to the field and then use his ability again to banish everything. So even though your opponent thinks he played through it one time, red zone will bring it back and then banish it again. And then your following turn, you can just go for full setup and not have to worry about it. So I really like this card. I don't think really people expected that how people were gonna abuse this, because red zone wasn't a thing back then. But I definitely think that this has a lot of potential, especially if people need to use their graveyards. Thank you guys for checking out the deck profile. I want to make a shout out to Taka. Taka's the one that put me onto this deck. He knows I like Fiends. I was playing Unchained. He also knows I like Dragons. I was playing Blue Eyes. This is the best of both worlds. Plus, this likes to float into a lot of things. He showed me the ropes, told me about the Bestial package. I really like the way it plays. Thanks. Shout out to Time Collectables. Had some of the cards that I need. Shout out to Project CCG right now for letting us film and using some of their space back here to make this content. And then shout out to Chris at Frank's who hooked me up with this mat. Other than that, I wouldn't have been able to go full Dragon Archfiend. Like, comment, subscribe.